Yesterday, America played New Zealand in the first round of their Fiba games. America won pretty handily, but we're going to discuss one concept that changes between the lineups of America and how that impacts things. The first thing we're going to discuss is we're going to look at the starting lineup of when Jaren Jackson is in the game. So we're going to notice that New Zealand, similar to like we talked about with Germany last video, they did run quite a bit of pick and roll trying to get advantages in space in the open court with Jaren Jackson. When USA has Jaren Jackson in the game, they are unable to switch screens, and so they have to essentially hedge and try and recover. This creates just a little bit of confusion and allowed for several open shots from New Zealand just because it's slightly more difficult. So this is a perfect example right here. We can see that Jaren Jackson is actually in like a semi-deep drop, relatively deep drop, and he has to partially at least guard both players. And this just puts a lot of issue on Jaren Jackson having to guard one player coming downhill and then also the big roll into the rim. Okay? And then we can see when they're shooting threes as well. Obviously, you have to know who's in the screen and roll, and it's harder for a big man to get up there. And so then the other area we're going to look at is when Paolo Banchero comes in the game and he becomes the 5 for Team USA. And the difference is this allows the United States to switch on all ball screens. Switching on ball screens doesn't necessarily give the defense advantage, but it makes things a lot simpler. And when you have a team like America that obviously has the extreme athletic advantage and length advantage, it allows for athletes to be athletes. And so while obviously the ball still gets in the paint, it's easier for America to rotate to cover things because they don't have to worry about one player that's slightly slower than everyone else. I don't mean that as a negatory towards Jaren Jackson at all. It's just a different style of defense. And even when they are getting shots, you can see that like the breakdown happened because one player was unable to stay in front of the other player. So while I personally think that Banchero as the 5 provides a better unit, you can see obviously how versatile America is. And I'll be curious in competitive close games when they get down to the wire if they'll go to the quote-unquote small lineup with Banchero at the 5, or they'll stick with Jaren Jackson as the post player. Have a great rest of your day.